Good morning! How are we doing today, everyone? I hope that you are doing well. Welcome to The Secret History, Living in Your Aquarium. So today we're going to be doing, I think, an interesting little study. And that is, we're going to look at the microfauna and the algae, the plankton, and so forth that is found in 3 of my tanks. So we're going to take a look at this tank here, which is simply, it's essentially just a shrimp tank, but as you can see, I have a little section with some very young fry in here from angelfish. I don't know if you can make them out, but they're in there. And then this tank is probably about a year old. Or 2 years old. It's my medium age tank. And it has just a whole lot of life going on in it. You can see there's some little minnows in it, or not minnows, but fry, I should say. And we're gonna see what is in this substrate at the bottom. We'll take a sample of water with a pipette right at the bottom, and this will be our middle-age tank, and we're gonna see what sort of plankton, algae, little single-cell organisms there are, and what it is that our little teeny young fish are eating. It's basically infusoria, and there's no adult fish to have cleared out any middle-sized, microfauna, such as, I suppose, cyclops or seed shrimp and things like that. So we're going to check out this tank, and we are also going to check out my oldest tank and my newest tank. So my oldest tank is actually right over here, and this tank has been running for probably 4 years now, I would say, and I think that's my oldest tank as far as continuously running. I haven't reset it or anything in that long. The aqua soil is probably quite depleted, as you can see by the plants. So we have samples from this tank here with all these shrimp, but it also has fish that have been eating quite a bit of the microfauna, I would guess, and the shrimp clean quite a bit of it. So we'll see what's in here. There's Celestial Pearl Danios, there's Kubota Rasboras, there's some Luminatus Pseudomagills growing out in there, as well as Tinwinnie Danios, and then there's a few half-beaks and a few guppies in here. So that's the story with this tank, and it has plants and a Amazonia ADA aqua soil substrate, just straight. There's nothing else in there as a substrate, but it's broken down over time, so you can see there's some silt and stuff. This tank tends to get some planaria once in a while. At one point it had hydra about a year ago, and they just went away when I cut back on feeding. The fish took care of them, but I suspect that there will still be some interesting stuff in here in that it has been running this long. So I want to show you guys the difference when we look under the microscope at what is going on at that microscopic level for each of these tanks. So this will be number 1, and number 2 will be the shrimp tank that we started with, that had the most little things swimming around that you could actually see with the camera. So those are the medium-sized creatures that I suspect we'll find. And you can see there's a little bit of algae and stuff like that going on in here, but nothing too major. Lots of little baby shrimp going on. And this one is just a sponge filter. The other one's a hang off the back filter. And then I will show you the newest tank, which is upstairs, and then we'll look right under the microscope in just a second here. So let's get cracking. Alright, so now we have this tank here, number 3, which is the newest of my tanks. And it's probably, I don't know, a little more than 6 months up and running solid now. Maybe 8 months. And planted quite a bit. You can see there's a little bit of maybe cyanobacteria. Yeah, there's definitely some cyanobacteria down there in the sand. And then there's some sand, some gravel, and then Amazonia ADA aqua soil number 2, as well as some Fluval and a lot of plants, a lot of fish, And we're going to see what's in the water column right around where the corridors seem to be feeding down at the bottom here. And we'll see what the difference is in, you know, a crystal clear, higher tech tank that gets fertilizers and high light versus the low light tank and then the medium light tank. And their ages are all separate as well. So they all have about 2 years apart in the time since they were set up. So let's hop into this and get over on the microscope over here. We've got it set up so we can actually see right into the microscope with my camera, and we'll start setting up slides and samples in a second here on my record player. Cheers record player, good for lots of things. And let's hop right in with the magic of editing. Alright, so we're going in with 10 times magnification right now, and we're gonna see what we can find. And this is in my oldest tank, so I'm suspecting we will find the most stuff in here. And sure enough, what do we have? Oh, looks like we have a little water flea, a Daphnia of some sort, going on in there. It's pretty cool. And I don't know for sure, but it kind of looks like there might be some eggs in it. Interesting little critter. Thing of nightmares, if you ask me. No, I'm just kidding. So what else is in here that we're seeing? Lots of debris of food, algae, plant material. Here's some algae right here that you can actually see the chlorophyll on. Let's see here. Come on. Come on. Alright, so here we go. We can see that there's some sort of little water mite probably in there. And mulm, and then, oh, when we moved it, I saw something moving for a sec there. Let's see. A lot of times you'll find these little single cell guys that are just little dots that just, they do little whirligig twirls in circles. Here also, we've got these little rod-shaped things that are slow moving. Little something or others, nematodes perhaps. And those, I don't know if they're, you know, I don't think they're planaria, baby, but something like that. They're the young of something most likely. And here we have more of that algae again. And it's just like a little piece of it that you'd find floating around. This is so small that you probably wouldn't see it with the naked eye. Here we've got another little single cell on its own. I don't know if it broke off from another organism or what, but you can see the clear margins on the cell. And so that's kind of what we got going on at this level in the oldest tank. So let's check out the shrimp tank next. You can see there's quite a bit of variety in the mulm of just different odd bits and bobs of things going on here. So let's take a look and see if we can find some different life forms in the next slide. Alright, so now we've got the next slide. This is that shrimp tank water, and nothing very scientific about this. We're just doing a little sample from each one, but look at this. Looks like the exoskeleton of a little crustacean, probably. Maybe a Daphnia or a little, some sort of seed shrimp, maybe. But you can see that clear exoskeleton there. And you can also see some little teeny particles moving around on the margin there. You see those twitching about? So let's keep looking. I suspect this sample will have the most diversity and life in it because there are no fish in this water. So nothing has been eaten by baby fish, really. Oh, wow, look at this. So here we have a Daphnia again, or maybe, actually this may be another type of, another species of Daphnia, but you can actually see it eating its, the chlorophyll. You can actually make out that chlorophyll in its digestive tract. And it doesn't look like it has any eggs or anything. You can see its back. That other one we saw had young in its back, in its ovaries. It had the eggs, the little round circles. Oh, it just pooped. It pooped. We can say it pooped, ladies and gentlemen. And you can see the little legs, the little flagella, if you will. And I don't know, some people may say this is a bit creepy. I know my wife doesn't like looking at this stuff up close, but I find it fascinating. So this is what your little fish absolutely love to eat. And you can see it's using its little legs there to filter out this mulm in the water, and it's eating it. So it's just doing its thing, surviving in a little eye drop of water. So let's continue our quest. Well, we've got another one. We've got another one, folks. This one doing the same sort of thing. Also looks like it's digesting some sort of algae. So maybe there's some algae around here. This looks like sand. So this is actually little microparticles of quartz and silica, maybe? Broken down. Very interesting. Broken down in small enough size that it's floating through the water. Look at these little single-cell organisms here. So let's zoom in. Let's take it down to, let's do 200 times zoom. Look at that. So this is more food that your baby fish could possibly eat. So these are single-cell organisms. This is similar to like what an infusoria would provide for them to eat. And this is what your very, very teeny larval fish would be eating. And you can see how big that Daphnia is and how spastic it is compared to the teeny stuff at this scale. We can zoom in even more, but I suspect that this will work just fine just for the rest of the video here for the next minute or two. So here, oh, we've got more Daphnia. Should we zoom back out, or do we want to take a closer look at the Daphnia? It looks like you can actually make out the structure of the Daphnia. Look at that. Look at that cellular structure, that netting of cells in how its interior, it's got its kind of little stomach area where it's digesting. And you can actually see it eating through its proboscis or mouth here. There's its little eye sensor. And you can see it eating the mulm. So all that dead detritus type stuff that's around it, it is eating and processing through its body. And then it's at its back end here, it literally is just breaking off a little piece and spitting it back out. So then you're left with this waste material, which is essentially soil or mulm for your aquarium, and not harmful in any way. That's kind of the circle of life. That's what your plants are going to grow off of and all that sort of jazz. So I don't know. I find this all very interesting. I hope you guys do too. I know it's not the most thrilling thing in the world, but it's just kind of an example of the stuff that you'll find in a well-seasoned tank. This tank, this sample is from the 2-year-old water. And here we can see we've got another Daphnia. We've got some little teeny organisms going into more. That's another young Daphnia. We've got little dots moving around that are some single-cell organism that I can't even pretend to try to identify. It looks like we have another dead Daphnia, perhaps, and some plant material. You can actually make out plant cells. This one hasn't been eating much chlorophyll, you can see. It doesn't have that green as much in its digestive tract. And that's probably just by way of there not being too much algae or green stuff on this slide with it right now where it's been hanging out. It's probably been eating the straw, unlike this one, which has been sucking up all this these bits of floating algae on the lower part and able to digest it. It could be that its actual digestive tract is green too. I honestly don't know for sure. Maybe you guys do. But I thought we'd just take a first hop into this and have some fun with the microscope. So this is what's going on. And let's get to the last sample here. We won't take forever. I know it's already been a long enough video. But I thought we'd christen the microscope. Let me know if you want to do more exploring with the microscope. I could always go find the critters first, and then you guys don't have to search in real time with me. But here you can see got another little creature right in there that's swimming around, and we got a few of them that maybe we can zoom in on those and see what's going on here. But they look like little single cell organisms again, and they're breaking down the skeleton of that Daphnia. So here we go. You can make out the little parts of the cells in it if it doesn't go deeper. You can see that it's got little organelles and everything. It's going into that debris there, whether it's to eat or to hide, I'm not sure. But there's little legs on it that let it swim around and squeeze water out of its back side here. And it looks like we've got actually a whole host of them all working. I don't know if these are little like amoeba type things or what, but these potentially could be food also for your fish. Probably a bigger species than this. These are quite small. These are smaller than you'd see with the eye. We're at 200 times magnification here. And here's another species. So now we're really getting into some interesting species. Here's like a red, this is like a red hair algae type stuff. Filamentous algae. Kind of interesting, right guys? So if you are making it this far, hit that like button and subscribe if you're interested in what's going on secretly in your aquarium. Looks like a little yin and yang symbol there almost, or a little Buddha head. It's kind of funny. So this is the sort of stuff that's going on in just a little droplet of water in your tank that looks like a little droplet of water in your tank. I mean, doesn't look like there's any life going on in here when you look at it with the naked eye. It just looks like a drop of water and with one tiny little Daphnia in it. You can't see the Daphnia skeletons. You can't see any of this debris or any of these cells here that are making up the structure here. This probably looks like maybe thinner than a human hair. Some sort of algae. Or some sort of, it could be part of a plant or something. And then here it looks like we also have some, maybe we've got some mold growing, some fungi with those little hairs. Could be, not sure. And then we're back to Mr. Crazy, Spastic, Daphnia, Water Flea. Alright, so let's finish this up, bring it on home with the new water from the tank that's about 8 months old with big current moving around and everything, and we'll finish it up. Alright, so here we are at the newest tank, and we can see there's actually still plankton in here. You can see there's some sort of interesting little nematode or worm. And you know what it's living on, it's moving very interesting. We'll zoom in, let's zoom in a little bit more to figure out what exactly that is. And here, this is actually part of a piece of plant debris. And what we're looking at is, this is, you can tell these are plant cell walls, because they have a really defined margin and they're more of a square shape and they're all kind of interlocked, and so we know this is part of some sort of debris of plant or a plant. And there we go. That's great. And you can see the chlorophyll in it. More like borophyll. And up close, we can see this is part of a leaf. And if I had to guess by what it looks like from under the microscope, I would guess that these are the cells of a little piece of duckweed. So this is what duckweed looks like up close, and this is the little root from the duckweed that goes down into the water, and then we've got a piece of the leaf, just one little piece of duckweed. And it looks like we had some sort of little critter that has since disappeared, or we just aren't in the right depth of focus. Let's see here. That was hanging out, working around on it. Can we find it again? I don't want to take your time up too much searching for you guys. But you can see there's a little hole in the leaf. You can see how the cells are arranged, and actually water wicks off of this plant. Here we have some algae. So this is a green photosynthetic algae with more chlorophyll in it. And I was interested that we found that little creature right off the bat in what looked like completely crystal clear water. TDS is under 100 in that tank, and it's only eight months or so old. So to me, it's just a little bit surprising. It looks like maybe some red algae or some more mulm of some sort. And I'm sure we'll have some single cell organisms in here, but the fish and the shrimp that live in this tank, they really do clean up the water a lot more. So what I'm trying to show you here, the theme that we're learning is that these tanks that are older and that don't have fish in them can contain so much life that is sparked just from coming in on the plants and on the various stuff that you bring in to your aquarium over the years. And over time, whether it's floating in the air or in your tap water or on fish you buy at the store, all sorts of stuff comes in on those surfaces, and you end up with interesting stuff in the water. Even in crystal clear looking water, we're going to have things like algae, and that's when it doesn't look like I'm having an algae bloom. There's still particles of algae. There's still little single cell critters, whatever these little white or these little round dark spots are that we're moving in the other slide. There's some sort of critter, I bet. And if we take a deeper look, we're still seeing lots of particles of, pieces of plant, pieces of debris that's broken down, and just random stuff. Alright, well, I just wanted to show you guys what was in the 3 different water samples. Nothing necessarily, no huge revelations or breakthroughs, but thanks for joining me. Please hit that like button on the way out if you liked it. If you didn't, then don't worry about it. And I will talk to you guys next time, and hopefully we can identify some more. Let me know what you'd like to look at under the microscope, and I will talk to you guys later. Check out the links down below if you want links to where I've gotten some of the plants and animals that you've seen in the video at places like Aquatic Arts, as well as some of the equipment that I have is linked, I believe, to Amazon affiliate links as well, and to my merchandise and Patreon if you want me to continue to do things like get a hold of microscopes and things like that that aren't necessarily always the cheapest endeavor, but I think they're fun to include in the channel's repertoire of what we can play with. So you guys make this happen, and you guys watching and sharing make this happen. So thank you very much, and I will talk to you next time. Take care, guys. Bye.